What's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we are getting wild because we are in the dog days of the offseason. So I wanted to have some fun and go through 5 wild trade ideas that this man right here, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, maybe could pull off during the NFL offseason. So we'll dive into that on today's show. But before we do so, if you guys want the Vikings to make a splash this offseason, just go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. I put today's goal as 300 likes, so if you guys could help me blow that out of the water, make me look good for my bosses, hit that thumbs up icon, whether that's free agency, the draft, or the trade market. If you guys want the Vikes to make a splash, just go down there and hit that thumbs up icon. All right, let's dive into it. 5 blockbuster trades for our Minnesota Vikings, and number 1 here, we're going to get possibly the best defensive player in the league, Myles Garrett. Now, Myles Garrett did officially request a trade from the Cleveland Browns, so the Browns are looking to deal him. So what could a trade look like? Well, the Vikings could just send Dallas Turner, first-round pick from last season, your 2025 first-round pick, and your 2025 third-round pick. Is this enough to get this done? TBD, but I'm sure the Browns, if they move off Garrett, they would want a young up-and-coming edge rusher to fill that spot. So I could see them having some interest in Dallas Turner, and plus you give him a first-round pick and a third-round pick. But originally I wasn't too high on a Myles Garrett trade, but after watching the Super Bowl, I am all in on the Vikings trading for Myles Garrett because there are so many good quarterbacks in the NFL. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. And what's the best way to beat those guys is your ability to get home with 4, drop 7 in the coverage, and it's just a numbers game at that point because you think about it, 5 offensive linemen, you got the 6 guy as the quarterback. If you're able to get home with 4, you just have such an advantage on the back end. And Myles Garrett has been just consistently great. Each of the last 4 seasons having 14-plus sacks and 17-plus TFLs. He has been awesome. And, I can already see people saying, we got Van Ginkel, we got Grenard. Why would we want to trade for Myles Garrett? Myles Garrett is significantly better than both of those guys. I love Grenard. He's a true blue chipper at that edge position. But could you imagine when you're squaring off with teams like the Lions, Packers, and Bears, all of these explosive offenses, and you got Myles Garrett, Jonathan Grenard coming off the edge, meeting at the quarterback. Like, you could truly replicate the purple people eaters from back in the day. So Myles Garrett, I'd be all in on it, but we'll have to wait and see if the Vikings are seriously looking to trade for that star edge rusher from Cleveland. All right, let's dive into blockbuster trade idea number 2 here. And this is the Vikings actually trading up in the first round to draft Ashton, Jeanty, Boise State running back. So I think the situation could be you call the Seattle Seahawks. You're trying to move up 6 spots. You throw in a second-round pick in 2026. And the Seahawks, they could be wanting more draft capital in future drafts to trade up for a quarterback. So I could see them being down to trade down. But if the Vikings could somehow get their hands on this guy, it would be awesome. Ashton Jeanty, runner-up from the Heisman this past season, had over 370 carries going for 2,600 yards. He is a great prospect. Do I think he's on the level of a guy like Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey coming out of college? No, but he's just below that. And I could see the Vikings seriously consider, going out there and getting a star running back for the main reason of you would complete this offense and you would almost have it look like a San Francisco 49ers-esque offense. And, I'll also say this, if you're the Minnesota Vikings and you think Ashton Jeanty is a generational prospect where he would completely change the look of this offense, you go and make this trade. Because I understand Kwesi's kind of put himself behind the 8 ball with his draft capital, trading up for Dallas Turner. You only had to give up a 4th to trade up 1 spot with the New York Jets to draft JJ McCarthy. But if you truly think Ashton Jeanty is that great and that much of a generational prospect, you go ahead and make this trade. Because could you imagine you rolling out a unit on offense? I mean, just check this out. Could you imagine you have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Ashton Jeanty, TJ Hawkinson, and Christian Darrisaw? That's probably the best 2 wide receiver, running back, tight end, 1 offensive lineman combo in the entire NFL. And I still believe Kwesi is trying to replicate what the Niners had with Brock Purdy on that rookie deal, where you just have a loaded cast of Avengers around him. And Jeanty, he is the cream of the crop in a loaded running back class. But if you really believe he is generational, I think I would do it. But I'll ask you guys this. Would you trade up for Ashton Jeanty? Give me a T for trade or give me a P for pass down below in the comment section. You guys let me know your thoughts. Would you trade up for the Boise State running back? This is your time to sound off down below in the comment section. Give me a T for trade or a P for pass. All right, everybody relax. We are going to just talk about the idea of trading Jordan Addison. I am not saying the Vikings should trade Jordan Addison, so before you guys kill me in the comments section, just pump the brakes a little bit. We're just going to talk about the idea. In this hypothetical trade, you had the Vikings landing the 35th pick in this year's draft for Jordan Addison. So why would the Vikings consider trading Addison? Well, he does have that looming suspension, probably going to be around 3 or 4 games to start next season, and he is expected to get paid, probably not this offseason, but you're going to have to pay him next offseason. And in terms of just building a roster, would you want the Vikings to pay the receiver position? Like, let's say Jefferson getting his 35, then Addison's getting 25, possibly 30 a year. Do you want to pay 60 to 65 million per year for the receiver position? I don't know if that's something Kwesi wants to do. But let's just say you do trade him for pick number 35, and let's just say you get a guy like Tyler Booker at pick number 24, then you could just go get one of these guys, like a Caleb Johnson, a Benjamin Morrison, a Travion Henderson, or Derek Harmon. And also, if you want to say, hey, we could draft a receiver at 25, I don't hate that idea. But also somebody that could replace Jordan Addison. What about a guy like Cooper Kupp? Now, the Rams, they're trying to trade this guy, but I firmly believe they would not be able to get a trade done considering his cap number. So he could be a free agent once the Rams cut him. He already has familiarity with Kevin O'Connell and this Vikings team. Maybe, just maybe, they sign Cooper Kupp, get a draft pick for Jordan Addison, and that's where they go. But again, I would not trade Addison. That's not what I'm saying, so don't kill me in the comment section. Just want to have some fun on today's show. But what about blockbuster trade number 4 here? I talked about this on a show recently, and you guys were killing me in the comment section saying there is no chance we should trade Sam Darnold in a tag and trade for Matthew Stafford. But if you guys remember, there was some buzz back in October. Jack Settleman works for Underdog. He tweeted this out. He never really breaks stories, so I thought this was interesting, him just kind of putting this out there on the table, saying sources, the Vikings and Rams are in serious trade talks for Matthew Stafford. Minnesota made a push to trade for Stafford this offseason, but now are revisiting with the idea that he can be the piece to help them win the Super Bowl. But for the team trading for Stafford, this would be the cap hit. So, we talk about, Darnold, we don't want to pay him $41 million, but would you pay Matthew Stafford in 2025, $27 million, and then in 26, $31 million? That's something you would have to consider, but I already can see the comments. JJ McCarthy's our guy, and I totally agree with you. I'm not saying I would 100% trade Darnold for Stafford, but let's just dive into some pros and cons, because even though I'm probably the biggest JJ McCarthy guy that you guys will see, Stafford gives you a better chance to win now. And maybe the Vikings view this roster as a win now, like win literally next season. We're going to try to win the Super Bowl. That's a pro to this. But also a con, Stafford, not the same guy he once was. He's, I don't want to say he's cooked. That's why I put a question mark there. But you could make the argument that Stafford is cooked. And then another pro, offense familiarity. He's running the same offense with McVay that Kevin O'Connell runs. But also a con, you need to go big on interior offensive linemen. So if, let's just say hypothetically this trade goes down, I'm sending Trey Smith and Drew Dahlman the bag this offseason. And another pro, you got to think about your best player on your team, Justin Jefferson. I mean, he would have a monster year with Stafford, considering Stafford and Kupp back in 2021 had the best quarterback-wide receiver tandem year we have possibly ever seen. I could really see Jefferson being on board with this, but again, I'm probably not making this trade just because I think JJ McCarthy's our guy. Now, let's talk about trade number 5. You guys are going to get a kick out of this. I saw this floated out there. The Las Vegas Raiders, with Tom Brady now being a minority owner, maybe he wants to swing the Michigan quarterback, JJ, for pick number 6. And I have not a lot to say about this, except for this. No, just no. I am so sick and tired of seeing, and it's not any Vikings YouTubers or Vikings media guys throwing these trade ideas out there. There are so many NFL insiders who are too good at their job to keep throwing out their JJ McCarthy trade ideas. I don't care if the Titans offer you the number 1 pick. I am not trading this guy for anything, because the most valuable thing in the NFL in terms of roster construction is having a quarterback on a rookie deal. You do not trade that just because technically you would get more value since you had him at pick 10. You could, upgrade that pick to pick number 1 or pick number 6. There are just way too many smart NFL insiders that keep throwing out a JJ McCarthy trade. I promise you, if the Vikings don't swing big on a guy like Stafford this offseason, which I think has less than a 1% chance of happening, number 9 will be under center taking snaps for the purple and gold this season. So enough with the JJ McCarthy stuff, and let's show him some love to wrap up today's show. Spam his jersey number down below in the comment section. Type those number 9s if you guys believe in JJ McCarthy being the guy to get the Minnesota Vikings over the hump. Now, if you guys also want to hit me up on Twitter, that's the handle right there, @PatSieps. Give me a follow over there. I'll give you guys a follow right back. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Blockbuster trades. It was fun to dive into. So appreciate you guys watching this whole thing. Hit me up on Twitter, @PatSieps. See you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.